Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday morning. I know everyone is very like it's a holidays weekend mood. It's like if you are already into a working career, then weekends is a weekend. It's like holidays. But thank you very much for joining in for today's, and thank you for Girls in Tech inviting me to this talk. So my name is Fairoza Binti Hamzah. I'm the senior AI engineer in Forum Technology Sdn Bhd, and I'm also a president for Women in AI Malaysia. So today I would like to talk about breaking into AI career. So let's just a little bit introduction about me. I received my bachelor degree, master and PhD from Japan. My bachelor degree was in electrical, electronics and information engineering. So I'm basically an engineering student. But when I was in PhD, I switched a little bit to information science and control engineering, having more on computer science side. And then during my PhD studies, I had the opportunities to go to the University of Warwick, UK, to do my research intern. And after I finished my PhD, graduated from PhD, I straight away become an assistant professor in the Kyoto College of Graduate Studies for Informatics Japan. And then we open up, establish a chapter of Women in AI in Japan. And then, COVID happened. So in January 2020, I lead a research group for Corona Tracker, where we built a COVID-19 dashboard and we published a research paper that was endorsed by the WHO. So that's why we were featured in a lot of media. Like 3 years ago, I was featured in TV3, Berita Harian Bernama Sina, Esrawani, and so on for the work that we did with Corona Tracker. And then in early April 2020, we established the Malaysia chapter for Women in AI. And then that was my 1 month break during the MCO in Malaysia, actually, after my career in Japan. And then after that, I became a machine learning engineer in Vertex, and then I jumped into ST Microelectronics, a semiconductor company, as a data scientist. And then I also established my own company called Avaya Holdings Neighborhood. And then later, earlier last year, I was invited as industry advisory panel, Center of Science and Maths in UMP. And very recently, which is like in July 2022, I joined Forum Technology Neighborhood as senior AI engineer. And I was the only Malaysian that won the Rising Star category in Women in ICT Awards, Asian, actually. So this is a little bit about me. So I would like to introduce Women in AI to everyone, because this is Girls in Tech, but eventually, like, Women in AI is the one that we give mentoring talks, and then some sort of like masterclass to those like really in the junior, middle school and high school. So we collaborate with MDEC and so many others NGO to do this together. So Women in AI is present at 140 countries with 200 volunteers and 8,000 members. So in Southeast Asia, we have one in Myanmar, Malaysia, Singapore. And then when we started in Japan, it was only Japan, and then Japan and Australia, but now we have like Taiwan as well. And we usually like collaborate with those in New Zealand, India, Pakistan as well. So, but our main headquarters was in France. So we are 3 years establishment, and then we have 9 core members, and we have 188 female members. And then we have more than, usually in our events, more than 80% of female is usually attended our events. And we have more industry partners, academic partners, government partners, NGO, NPO. And then we have a lot of followers in Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and also PTX. So we wanted to create an environment where women own the stage and present their inspiring ideas. So basically, we help the women to become a more like courageous. That's why if you see here, like our activities, we have way time, which is like we have a community gathering time. We have a lecture, we accelerate, we awards, we submit, and we have for education, especially for the girls that just like in the middle school, primary school, or high school, we have way to go and way camp for them. Actually, it's just like a very simple what is Python and whatsoever. And then we also do research, scientific research on gender in inclusive AI. And then we have like a lot of like social media newsletters spread throughout the year. And yeah, and then we also have gathering in the summit and whatsoever lah there. So join us, just follow us in FBY Malaysia, follow us in IGY Malaysia, and become a member. So even though you are very young, you also can join us. Even though the title is Women in AI, but we open to all. Okay, so that's a little bit about the women in Malaysia. So I will introduce Torum. So Torum is a crypto social media platform. You can type in torum.com. So it's basically like Facebook, like Twitter, but it's specialized on NFT, cryptocurrency, and anything that really on the blockchain side, something like that. Like decentralized finance. So Forum actually started when like people are gathering a lot more information, like talking about NFT, talking about crypto in their own like Twitter, Facebook, or something like that. But then later the founders thinking like, why don't we just open up a social media platform that people can gather and talk about this more freely. So that's why they open up a social media platform called Forum.com, and we also have our own currency called XTM, cryptocurrency, and we also have our own avatar. So basically, we would like to become someone that, like a platform that can collaborate, that can become a centralized for everything, the Torum finance, Torum social media, Torum marketplace, and the app smart contracts. This is all bridging in one platform called Torum.com. So this is Torum. And then, okay, I have one question before we started our what is AI and everything. Just imagine like if you are a team of AI or software engineering with 5 people in each team, how many females in a team usually? So usually how many females do you think? So feel free to join me at slido.com. Just scan the QR code. There is no really right and wrong answer. I will just tell you the story according to my experience. Sorry, I cannot see like how many attendees here currently, but I hope like everyone can join in and just cast your vote here. Very nice. Okay, we have one person already. 3. Okay, good. Okay, so the correct answer was 1 because according to my experience, it was like when I was in Japan as a research student, like as a PhD and master student, in my lab, out of 20, usually we have about 5, not less than 5 lah, like, I think like 2 or 3. So we are the most females oriented lab that we have in Japan at that time. In my classroom, as engineering student, out of 117, only 5 females are there. Okay, and then when I go into workforce as assistant professor, I'm the only female computer science lecturer. And then when I join an industry, I'm also the only females in my AI team. It was like, it's totally interesting. And when I was in semiconductor company, we have a team in multiple countries that we work together, like I think about 5 countries. And inside that team, there's only 3 females out of 20. So that's the reality. And currently, I work in a silo in Torum Technologies Number Height as the only females AI engineer. So this is the reality where if you want to be in this field, you need to be very bold. You need to be very outspoken. But usually no worries about that because software engineering just require you to work from your laptop. But it also requires you a collaboration and communication. Okay, we'll see later about this. I'm not going to touch this a lot because it's going to be in my slides after this. But just bear in mind that in 2023, Malaysia is also the same with Japan or with other countries that really have like very few gender females or something like that. Okay. So what is AI and data? For those who don't really know what is AI, data science and machine learning. So this is the chart that I always give out to everyone, which is like what is AI, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, data science, and big data. So AI here is a core where it's intersect with data science and big data, but not all AI, not all data like big data dashboard contain AI, something like that. So what is actually artificial intelligence? So a very simple example is artificial juice and natural juice. Like in Malaysia, we have a lot of artificial juice compared to a natural juice. But in Japan, we always have the natural juice, 100% juice. So artificial means like you add up more like preservative colorings, you make it more like juice, but it's not really a juice. So that is artificial. Intelligence is defined as the ability to learn, the ability to solve problems, and the ability to recognize problems. It's like our human mind. So artificial intelligence means man-made things that are extremely clever. They are able to learn, they're able to solve problems, they're able to recognize problems. It's like the chat GPT, right? So you give them some sort of like questions and then they can understand what you want. They are able to understand, solve your problems, and they are able to recognize their problems. So the next one will be the machine learning. So inside artificial intelligence, we have machine learning here. So machine learning means machine is taught to learn by themselves until they become highly intelligent. We have a lot of machine. I think that this one is a server room lah, I would say. So usually a machine that can train a very good machine learning models. If in Google, like very big companies, that they have a lot of data, they invest a lot on their servers. But for a very small company like us, we depend on cloud provider. So usually we will use their own their cloud server. So we don't really have a on-premise server lah. Our server usually in the cloud somewhere in the in the Amazon, in the US or whatever, wherever it is. So we taught the machine to learn by themselves. Learning, right? Like what I'm teaching you currently. So below the machine learning, we have the neural networks. So neural networks means there are a lot of neurons in human brains. So this is ANN, which we call as artificial neural networks. So ANN is mimicking the human brain by connecting the nodes here, to produce the same input as what neurons in human brain can do. So the ANN was introduced, I think, in 1970s, I think around that, but it's not really boom as of now because we have very, very small hardware. You know, like you need to have a very big hardware to be able to train this neural network because it's very heavy, because they need to compute each node like this. So that's why it started to boom around 2017, 2016, when the Nvidia actually give out like, you know, a very nice processor, graphic processor. And now MacBook also have their own graphic processor that is like quite comparable to Nvidia. So this is neural networks. And then after that, downside the neural network, we have the deep learning. Deep learning is you study deeply. This is you studying deeply. And we have a very deep ANN architecture. Just now it's very simple ANN architecture that it goes through the input to the output here, where it's studied for a very long time, where machines study more than 12 hours to understand and solve the problem given like we human do. So for those who are like, you know, sleeping in the class, I don't really blame them because I know they are studying deeply. So no worries about that. It was like, that's how the AN architecture works. So it's also the same with the human. They study very deep, they fall asleep. Okay. So this is the intersect of everything. Means like not everything is a deep learning, not everything is machine learning, and not everything is an AI. And now we have another comparison with data science and big data. So big data, we have a lot of data. Like before this, during our COVID, we are using MySejahtera, right? So MySejahtera handle thousands, not thousands, I think billions of trillions of data that we check in every day. We know, like they know where we go, like they have all the database of Malaysians. So that is the big data. So the data science means a scientific investigation of this big data, where we scientifically investigate the big data by using some hypothesis to generate better results. So it's just the same like being a data scientist, it's like a research scientist. But not everything, you know, like not like everything in the world where we are talking about data science, big data, they involve in AI. Like ChatGPT really an AI, but a mere dashboard, like, you know, COVID now dashboard is not really an AI. It's just a data science where they presented a visualization. Like, okay, we can see like how many people get vaccinated, how many people is not vaccinated. The latest this Department of Statistics Malaysia dashboard also is a data science of that, a data science of a very big data, but it's not really an AI yet. So where's AI is there? Like AI is everywhere. Because we have various type of data. We have tabular data, we have image, we have video, we have speech, we have sequential data. Even the virtual background that we have here is also consists of AI because they are actually detecting where is our face. And then they put up a virtual background. So this is the computer vision application inside of your Google Meet. And then they also have noise cancellation, right? Like in Google Meet, they don't really have this, but in Microsoft Teams, in Zoom, they have the noise cancellation features. So this one is also a part of AI lah. They want to investigate like which one they learn where is the surrounding noise and which one is not which one is the microphone noise. And then we have like NLP, like the Chat GPT. And then we have regression and classification. Like regression means that you want to predict how many people is going to die because of COVID, then it's usually in regression. For the classification, it's very easy. Like you separate A and B, you separate cat and dogs, you separate, and then you will know like, okay, this is cat and this is dog, something like that. So this is a little bit introduction about AI and machine learning. Okay, next, what is the real job scope of data science? I hope everyone is not going to be very scared after I explain this. Because the work is very enjoyable, seriously. But it consists like, not every work has their own challenge. So for an end-to-end data science project team, usually for a company that is very small, they don't really have this kind of data science project team. They usually have a very core person, which is the data scientist, and then after that, maybe a data engineer. And one like in Torum, I am the machine learning engineer, the AI engineer. So I did almost everything, but I didn't really. But to put like I just give out an API, something like that can port into an apps, and then there will be a backend software engineer that will help me. So the step usually goes like this: you have a database that can store a lot of data that are secure, that are centralized. And then this one will usually be done by a database admin or data engineer, but usually a database admin lah. And then after that, this stage, which is the most crucial part that actually time taken to finish this one is 70%, which is data analysis and visualization. So they involve on data wrangling, cleaning, pre-processing, understanding the data. So that's why the dashboard that we don't really have AI yet at there, but they usually start with this data analysis and visualization. They want to see like what we can do with this data. So those who do this work is data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist. It depends who you are, like how big your team is lah. And then after that, they will go for a predictive modeling where they create a model to solve the data problems, and they train the model, they evaluate it. So usually the data scientist and machine learning engineer will do this. Then it comes to the deployment part where you have a very beautiful model already. So it's the end product of the data project, and it should be deployed to a specific platform as requested. So after this, I will explain to you like what kind of platform that we currently have. So this is the work for the machine learning engineer lah, together with the backend software engineer. So right now in Torum, I always communicate with the backend software engineer. Like I want this kind of input, I want to put this model here, and then I also communicate with a DevOps engineer. DevOps means someone that actually control all of the server. So they are the one that help to put it into the production. And then the user interface, like if you are putting it in the apps like us, we are putting it in a Torum platform. So we have a front end software engineer that put up a very nice UI for that lah, user interface for that. So this is the text. Wow, a lot. So everyone was like, okay, no worries about this. You are going to slowly understand this along the way you learn about data science. So database and data warehouse, usually we use SQL. Regardless you are using MongoDB, MariaDB, or whatsoever DB, usually you will have a very specific query language. But the query language is not really that difficult. You can always learn it online. Like in Torum, we use the MongoDB, where we use the MongoDB query language, MQL, which is quite different from the SQL. And then when I was in SD, they used the MariaDB actually, so they use the MySQL. And then we also have like data warehouses like Redshift, Talent, so we can actually take the data that is not really a production real-time data, a temporary data storage that we can extract it easily lah. Okay, and then for collaboration and CI/CD tools, usually they will use either like for collaboration, Normally people will use Jira, some will use Tulip, and then most of them will use GitHub, Bitbucket. For CI/CD, Jenkins. There's a lot more other than Jenkins lah. And then also like serverless Lambda, something like that. And then for the development tools, mostly people will use Python, of course, Python. And then NVIDIA as the GPU, and then some will use TIBCO. And there's also OpenCV, Node.js as the backend, and then Pandas for the data file, CSV file. And then we have PyTorch, Scikit-learn, GPT also, BERT, something like that for the NLP. Then for visualization, it depends if you want to code maybe Streamlit, it's free of charge. Like in ST Microelectronics, I use Power BI a lot. There's also TIBCO Spotfire, or maybe Google Data Studio. And for deployment part, we have Docker and Kubernetes. So usually it's going to be Dockerized in one image and then put up into the production. For the ML ops, is either Azure, like AWS also have their own SageMaker, Databricks, ML Flow, AI, Kubeflow. There's a lot of like ML ops features in the world. Okay, this is like a very interesting question that I always ask during my talk. Actually, you can put it in your own currency, no worries about that. How much is the current starting salary of a fresh graduate data scientist or AI engineer? I can tell you I will let I like from my experience, it will be in either RM or Japanese yen lah. So it's okay, just join me in Slido. Hello, can everyone would like to join this?
Yep, joining.
Okay, good. Wow, how much is this? 100,000. Wow. Fresh grad, fresh grad data scientist or AI engineer. Okay, if 100K a year is around, I think about 7K per month lah. Okay, 5K. So this one is too futuristic. I don't know. We are in inflation, and if ringgit Malaysia, yeah, I think like in US maybe you can get over 100K. I don't know. But then if in Malaysia, the sad reality in Malaysia, as a fresh grad data scientist, the highest you can get is 3,500 ringgit. 3,500 ringgit. I think that's the highest for a fresh grad. Because usually, why do they give like a very small amount? But it's actually quite high for a fresh grad. Usually, fresh grad, engineer fresh grad, they just give you 2,500 or maybe less than 3,000. But data scientist or AI engineer, they will give you 3,500, quite high for a fresh grad. Because usually you don't really have a good grasp on the data actually. Okay, but in Japan have a very standard fresh grad salary. So regardless which one is your position, either you are a data scientist, either you are a software engineer, you still will get about 220,000 Japanese yen every month. So yeah, so I think like everyone was like, oh, I thought like becoming a data scientist or an engineer will give me like a very good salary. Yes, it's going to give you a very good salary if you know how to value yourself and you know how to negotiate the salary and you always improve your skill. I will not tell about my story a lot because I started as a PhD grad, so it's quite difficult from everyone. It's quite different from everyone here. But I have like some of my friends that actually started as a fresh grad bachelor degree, and then he comes along the way until he reached like 5 figure salary at the age of like, 33 or 30, I think like 34, 35 around. So like me, but then when you become senior, eventually you will have the 5 figure salary in Malaysia. So, and that's why I was thinking, like, when people ask me, like, are you going back to Japan? I would say no as of now, because I'm quite happy living here in Malaysia. I'm very happy working with Torum. That's the most important, because I just work from home. Like, I have like a very nice salary, and then I just work from home. I have more flexibility, and then they are also like, the working environment is also very nice. They are very supportive, and we know, like, because I'm also already a senior, so I keep track on my tasks and deliver what I want, what they want. So basically, in most of the startups of most of the companies currently, it was like, if especially work from home, is always based on the results. Means like you give a very nice output, they are very good with you. Same with the big companies as well. So the next advantage of being a software engineer or data scientist, like, you might not need to go to the office at all. Like, most of them is either hybrid or remote. Hybrid or remote. Like, you can also work to the company in US if you are very good, like, become an old that actually like wake up very early in the morning at around, maybe like, just like don't sleep around during the night lah. You just like sleep during the day, and you